of a program called Read to Succeed Buffalo. And Read to Succeed believes that through exposure to high quality, intentional, literacy rich instruction and language rich environments like the one we're in today, children from birth, who receive them from birth to third grade, can succeed and read to learn for the rest of their lives, regardless of social or economic factors. We seek to accomplish this by providing evidence-based literacy coaching supports in childcare programs, preschool settings, and high-impact tutoring in the elementary grades. Currently, Read to Succeed Buffalo programs are serving nearly 500 economically disadvantaged children throughout the city of Buffalo. Read to Succeed Buffalo and our partners in Erie County could not have asked for a better location today for the kickoff of Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Imagination Library is a free book distribution program that mails an age-appropriate, high-quality book to children from registration, either birth through age 5, their 5th birthday. And Puddle Jumpers Childcare is our partner today in our announcement, and our owner, Tanya Callowayn, is here today. Tanya, I can't thank you enough for letting us host today. This center is just beautiful, and the work you do is incredible. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So Ms. Callowayn and her staff here have been partnering with Read to Succeed Buffalo Child Care Quality Improvement Program for the past year, and quite frankly, years before that, as you were a family provider starting out. And you can see that her classrooms are literacy rich, and her staff receives the support they need for that high quality talk and interactions that we know that children need to develop their vocabulary and critical communication skills. And what better audience can we have today for this announcement than the beautiful kids that are with us today at Puddle Jumpers. Everybody, can you guys hold up your books for the cameras? Guys, everybody hold up your books. Those are all Imagination Library books. So Imagination Library was the brainchild of Dolly Parton. She grew up in rural Tennessee in a very poor family, but her family was rich in vocabulary, rich in communication. They believed in oral storytelling. They believed in singing and lyrics of songs and poems. And she credits that for being the success she is today. And quite frankly, the research and the science of reading back her up. From birth to age 3, the first 1,000 days of a child's life, 85% of brain development occurs with, yes, I know, exactly.
Very observant.
Need I say more? And million neural connections are happening every second. And that's setting the stage for future language, future vocabulary, health, and behavior. There is substantial research correlating quantity and quality of talk and interactions during early childhood to language and cognitive skills for children 3rd grade and above. 3rd grade is that pivot point when children need to move on from learning the mechanics of how to read to reading to learn, reading for content. And research shows that conversational turn counts, that interactive conversation between an adult and a child, those great conversations that you have when you're reading to your kids a high-quality read-aloud book, those conversational turns at 18 to 24, those counts of those turns at 18 and 24 months account for 14 to 27% of the variance in IQ, verbal comprehension, and vocabulary 10 years later in a child's life. Reading aloud to children from birth is a key factor in healthy brain development and a building block for cognition, executive functions, and social intelligence. But 0 to 3 tells us that only 37% of parents read to their babies every day. Erie County's investment in Imagination Library is going to change this here in Erie County for these children and for the 27,000 other eligible infants, toddlers, and preschoolers across the 28 zip codes that we're going to service with this funding today. The books that are mailed by Imagination Library every month are personally addressed to the child with a label directly comes to their home in their mailbox, and the children receive an age-appropriate book. The very first book that children receive is The Little Engine That Could, no matter what age the child is at registration. And it has a note from Dolly in it, encouraging the caregivers to read to their children. And it also comes with reading tips. Every book that you'll see is a high-quality read-aloud with lots of opportunity for rich dialogue and rich vocabulary. The last book kids receive on their 5th birthday is Look Out Kindergarten, Here I Come. And again, it has a foreword from Dolly and a note for children to keep reading. And in between, the 50 some odd other books they might receive are high-quality picture books that encourage conversation, encourage learning. This particular one encourages counting and discovering new vocabulary. Did you know that a picture book, a children's picture book, has higher level vocabulary in it than a typical primetime television show? This is a crucial importance in getting these into the homes of kids. Getting high quality books directly into the hands of young children and their caregivers can help change their reality and their future academic performance. On this, the research is clear. And Read to Succeed Buffalo ran Imagination Library from 2012 to 2018, delivered nearly 100,000 books. But this generous funding from Erie County will not only expand us in the city, but it'll also expand us into the rural zip codes that we can service nearly 27,000 eligible children under the age of 5. A book has the power to transform a child's life, and a book has the power to transform a caregiver and child's relationship. That's real power. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Mark Poloncarz. Mark is not only the county executive, but he's been elected county executive 4 times, the first person ever to do that in Erie County. And I believe it's because he fundamentally understands the role of county government. He fundamentally understands the role of county government as a health and human service provider. Sure, he has the big roles of keeping the bills here in Buffalo and balancing budgets and guiding us through COVID and pandemics, but I believe it's the small acts. I believe it's the act of things like Imagination Library, helping families build the home libraries that their kids need to have books in the home and exposure to high quality language, vocabulary, and experiences. I think this illustrates how deeply Mark takes his oath to the residents of Erie County and even our youngest, most vulnerable. County Executive?
Thanks, Ann.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ann. And I want to thank you on behalf of the 100,000 children that received books before and the tens of thousands that will receive them in the future for the work that you and Read to Succeed have done for the past couple decades. I know there's really no stronger advocate in our region for some of the programs that you are certainly seeing today, but others to ensure that every child is given an opportunity to reach their full potential. So thank you, Ann. I want to thank Puddle Jumpers for having us here today and somehow getting these little ones to keep quiet and sit still. That's pretty impressive. You got a great operation here. We're going to hear from our Deputy County Executive, who truthfully is much more qualified to talk about this topic than I as a retired teacher. But on behalf of the people of Erie County, we are very proud to support this program, to work with Read for Succeed, to work with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, to ensure that every child, as I said, is given the opportunity to truly reach their full potential. We know the greatest asset of our community is not a bank, it's not even the bills, even though people may differ, it's what you see in front of me. It's the future generation that is going to be the leaders of our community someday, and we need to give them every opportunity to reach not only their full potential, but much more. And it's programs like this, through the Dolly Parton Imagination Library and Read to Succeed, that truly do give them that opportunity before they get to school in kindergarten and first grade to be they need to be. And as unfortunately was noted by Ann, 37% of all households in this area do not read to their children under the age of 3, and that just puts them way behind the 8 ball when they actually go to school. So I want to thank all who are making this program a reality. It is making a difference in a child's life. And I want to thank the parents who are also taking the time to ensure that even after a busy day, that they're reading to the child. I want to thank all the daycare providers for the work that they do. These are not easy jobs. We know that, but they are essential. Yeah, you agree. They're not easy jobs. So this is a great day because more children across Erie County will now be receiving books. And it just is something that we can be proud of knowing that you had an impact on a child's life that maybe you'll never meet, you'll never hear, you'll never see of, but you will have made a difference. And maybe that book that they receive in the mail is one that they will remember when their 57-year-old, like myself, who still remembers his favorite book growing up was Curious George. And we never forget those formative periods of our life. They really make a difference. And so hopefully these little ones are thinking the same thing as they get through their lives, that thankfully someone cared enough to ensure that I had a book, my parent, my caregiver, they read it to me, and it made a difference in my lives. So thank you all. And as I said, to someone who truly understands the importance of this program, our Deputy County Executive, who works primarily on Health and Human Services, but I know there's one thing that she cares about more than anything else, and that's educating our young. Because I don't want to say former teacher, because in some ways she's still a teacher. She's a retired teacher, our Deputy County Executive, Lisa Chimera.
Thank you, everyone. I first want to start by thanking our county executive. You know, when Ann alluded to how much he cares about everyone in Erie County, that is so true. And whenever I bring initiatives like this before him, he is so quick to say yes and so excited for opportunities that we're bringing our families and our children. I want to start off also by thanking Puddle Jumpers. It is, you know, when I walked through the door, I immediately felt a sense of energy, a sense of pride, an environment that was filled with nurturing and learning and dedicated adults who were really helping the minds, bodies, and soul of our young children. So thank you, everyone. I want to thank Ann Ryan, who I said to her this morning, you know, how amazing she's been. And she said, well, yeah, I was kind of a pain. And not at all, because Read to Succeed is what we need to be doing each and every day for our children. To succeed in life, you need to read. And you need to have that skill at a very early age. Read to Succeed does just that. There, as a retired teacher, there is nothing that brings me as much happiness as seeing a book in the hands of a child. And it needs to start at a young age. So the Imagination Library does just that. I want to thank everybody who's involved with that. I was able to sit with these young children and their excitement about having a book in their hands. And all the questions they were able to answer was really amazing. Books do so much for our young children all the way up. So I want to thank everybody. This is a great opportunity for Erie County, for our parents, and for our children. So thank you.
Well, thank you. That concludes the formal portion. Does anyone have any questions for us? Yes, actually, that's a great point. We did include your zip code in the list if you showed it there, yes.
When can families start signing up for this?
Right now, immediately.
How do people sign up, and how did you choose the zip codes where children would be eligible?
Great question. So in partnership with the county, we focused on zip codes that had the highest number of children under the age of 5 according to the census data. So we focused on those zip codes first. We're hoping to take it countywide with support from New York State. New York State Governor Kathy Hochul did include some money for Imagination Library expansions in her executive budget, and we're hoping that ends up in the final budget as well.
County Executive, I know you mentioned that a lot of this is funded by donation from the county. Can you kind of elaborate on what that donation is and how long that will be for?
Yeah, well, we have a 3-year project. The goal is to reach as many children as possible. One of the things when you deal with organizations that seek assistance is you also have budgetary constraints and other things you have to deal with. So our goal is to ensure that the program can continue, that is just enriching children's lives. For me, it's not always about the dollars and cents, as it doesn't make common sense solutions for the issues that we face in our community. And one of the things that I've heard from Deputy County Executive, I heard from other teachers, is there are students who just, when they enter kindergarten and first grade, are behind others for no purpose or no reason of their own. It's just because of whether they were in a nurturing environment, they were read to, and things like that. So our goal is to try to reach as many students as possible, children as possible, before they become official students in our school districts. So it's not so much the dollars that matter. It's, in my eyes, it's, do we have the ability to pay for it? Yes, but is it having an impact? And so the program has a 3-year period to ensure and also try to evaluate impact as well. We know it makes a difference. It's just, is it really impacting as many students as we can? We'd like to reach out to the whole county as best as we could, but we just don't have the funding source for that right now. And there are some districts where the need is much greater than others, especially in the rural areas, of course, the city of Buffalo. There are truthfully wealthier, more affluent suburbs where the students are coming to school and with just in a higher learning level than some of them that are elsewhere, just because of the issues associated with they're coming from a more affluent community. So if you see that your community's not on there, it actually had an examination was done to make where the greatest need was.
Thank you.
Excuse me, so this is need-based, not just the concentration of child population, it's both that and need?
Yes, it's both.
Okay, and then how much exactly is this costing the county this year?
I don't know off the top of my head the exact amount this year.
And it'll be, there's an economy of scale, right? So it costs about $3 or $4 a child to mail. So the costs really include the book, mailing that book, return postage on that book, and then recruiting people to get in the program and managing that mailing list. So Imagination Library supports, or pardon me, Dollywood Foundation supports the purchase of the books. Erie County, Read to Succeed Buffalo, private donors, and hopefully New York State fund the rest, the balance of the cost.
And about how many children are you hoping to serve through this initial effort?
The total number of children eligible in the 28 county zip codes is about 27,000. And then you'll see there's 2 other providers through Erie County who serve about 7,000 kids currently. And across the state, there's about 55,000 kids in program. But again, Erie County is going to lead the way by hopefully making this countywide with that state funding support.
Is there any limit on the number of kids that can sign up? Or if all 27,000 sign up now, is that possible?
It's possible. Is it sustainable is a question. But again, we'll keep raising money. It's really exploded across the state, the popularity of Imagination Library. And I think through leadership like the county executive and the deputy county executive, the understanding of the importance of exposure to language and literacy as infants and toddlers has finally exploded as well. So I do think it's sustainable. I do think that you'll see a lot of funders coming to the fore.
And if people want to sign up, they do what? If they are interested in participating?
They can go to readtosucceedbuffalo.org. They can get a hard copy flyer from us. They can call our office. It's, again, will be disseminated widely through WIC offices in partnership with Catholic Charities and their distribution network. That's another partner that we looked to target to make sure those kids who are, and families who are utilizing WIC have access to the program, as well as programs like Reach Out and Read that are in the doctor's offices to make sure those infants and toddlers are registered as early as possible.
And if people want to donate, is it the same website?
Yes.
Yeah, and just, you know, something that has been incredibly important is our Live Well Erie initiative brings community organizations together, and our children's group actually has been tackling the issue of finding ways to have our students reach their developmental milestones. And so we've talked about our ages and stages questionnaire, but when we find individual students who are not meeting those milestones, what are the strategies we can implement so they will? And we believe this is a proactive strategy to ensure that every child is reaching their developmental milestones when they should.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, everyone.